Nacionales del país, listos para luchar por usted. Y si no ganan su caso, no cobran. Llame a la línea de ayuda legal ahora mismo. Estamos viviendo momentos difíciles. Si perdiste tu empleo y el dinero no te alcanza, puede que estés usando tus tarjetas de crédito para sobrevivir. No te agobies. Llámanos. Prometemos ayudarte y mostrarte una manera de reducir tus pagos mensuales. Ayudamos exclusivamente a personas que quieren deshacerse de sus deudas de tarjetas de crédito. Reduce tus deudas y haz un simple pago a todos tus acreedores de tarjetas de crédito, pagado por cero deudas.
Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez-Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Welcome to day 3, post-election day, and can we all just rejoice and agree that our election went off flawlessly. The counts came in. We had a winner by 2 in the morning Eastern time, around 10 or 11 Pacific time. It went smoothly. And honestly, I think that is truly a huge win for we, the people of the United States of America, because our votes were counted, our ballots were cast, and we have a clear, definitive winner. There are no hanging chads. There's no conspiracy theories. It is said, it is done. And welcome again. I am Alina Gonzalez-Dockery, your hostess, and let's get into it. History was made. Marking a historic comeback, Donald Trump's victory over Kamala Harris marks this as only the second time in U.S. history that a former president wins another term with not being successive. So Donald Trump will be our 47th U.S. president and only the second to serve non-consecutive terms, such like President Coolidge. Trump's campaign focused on issues like inflation and immigration, resonating with many voters who were concerned about economic instability. His win, defying poll expectations of a narrow count, highlights the shifting priorities in American politics and a redefined stance in its global economic relationships. The electoral success of Trump, despite numerous challenges and legal controversies, illustrates a significant shift in the U.S. political landscape. Kamala Harris congratulated Trump, while President Biden offered his support for a peaceful transition, extending an invitation to Trump to visit the White House. Trump's victory extended beyond his individual success. It boosted Republican representation in Congress, granting them a Senate majority and a most likely control of the House. Trump's platform appealed broadly across battleground states and gained support from young people, Latino men, Black men, Latina women, and white women, underscoring his broadening base. And let's face it, he won every single swing state. And that is huge. We have not seen a win of this nature since Ronald Reagan ran in 1980. And for those of you wondering, yes, I was very, very little then. So let's not do an age thing, but let's get back into it. Trump's campaign message centered on a critique of the Biden administration's economic management, asking Americans, much like Ronald Reagan did in 1980 when he ran against then President Jimmy Carter, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Harris struggled to distance herself from Biden's economic record, facing significant challenges and mobilizing a diverse coalition similar to one that elected Biden in 2020. In fact, Harris underperformed in all demographics compared to Biden 2020. But in reality, Biden's win in 2020 was an anomaly. But for COVID, Biden most likely would not have won. And then what would we have today? The former president's strong support among working class and rural Americans was pivotal. He swept crucial battleground states like North Carolina, who voted a Democrat for governor in the same election, Georgia and Pennsylvania, securing 292 electoral votes. His appeal among non-college educated voters grew, with a 55% majority backing him, an increase from his support in 2020. And also Gen X came out and represented. And of the different age groups that were voting, Gen X represented 54% of their registered voters voting for Trump. Meanwhile, Harris faced difficulties consolidating support amid negative economic perceptions, which overshadowed her campaign efforts. The election capped a turbulent campaign season marked by Trump's survival of assassination attempts, multiple legal battles, including federal election interference charges. His victory complicates the future of these cases, as Trump could potentially dismiss special counsel Jack Smith and interfere with ongoing prosecutions. He's just going to basically do away with them. Implications of Trump's win extend to future court proceedings and raise questions about the potential impacts on cases in New York and Georgia related to his past actions. Trump's success reflects deep-seated voter dissatisfaction despite low unemployment, as many Americans felt that the country was headed in the wrong direction. In fact, it was 65% of people polled stated that the country was going in the wrong direction. And you could say intellectually, but inflation is lowering compared to other Western countries. United States inflation has really recovered quickly and we're rebounding. That doesn't matter to the individual person. The individual person is looking at their bank accounts. They're looking at their wallets. Never have we, since the Great Recession, had so many people dependent and reliant on credit cards to be able to pay for their daily necessities. That's where the shift comes from. And then you have Trump, who was genius in bringing together this collaborative team. I mean, we have Elon Musk, who is basically the John Stark Iron Man of the real world, going in, and he bolstered his campaign by not only financing it, but also bringing his influence, but then also bringing in Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. I mean, you had some real big name ticket people who could bring in some support, but it was also the diversity of support. They appealed to the independents. They appealed to the Democrats who didn't seem to have a home. They peeled away more from the Democratic Party than Kamala could ever hope to get from the Republicans. So some people here are still scratching their heads and, doing a blame game in many respects. But how did Donald Trump win a second term? Donald Trump's path to the White House was defined by his unapologetic style, emphasizing the same characteristics that Democrats cited as reasons he was unfit for office. Throughout his campaign, Trump maintained a combative tone, denying any responsibility for the Jan 6 Capitol attack and repeatedly claiming the 2020 election was stolen from him. Despite these controversies, his bold persona and messaging resonated with a significant portion of the electorate, leading to a victory that underscored his influence on American politics. For Trump supporters, his legal challenges and bombastic approach only enhanced his appeal, fueling donations and solidifying his base. Voters drawn to Trump's message was eager for change, particularly around economic issues. Trump promised to revitalize the economy, lower taxes, reduce inflation, and curb illegal immigration. He painted himself as a fighter who had survived assassination attempts and legal battles, portraying himself as the victim of political adversaries, the media, and alleged deep state actors. Which, yeah, you could see how someone would believe that because it is very much true. Trans campaign broadened his support among Blacks, Latinos, younger male voters, building a coalition that promises to shape the Republican Party's future direction. Trump skillfully capitalized on the perceived weaknesses of Harris and the Biden administration. In speeches that were often lengthy and unscripted, he criticized Harris for overseeing high inflation and increased illegal immigration, especially since she was the proclaimed border czar. By reminding voters of the pre-pandemic economic prosperity during his previous term, Trump struck a chord with those nostalgic for a stronger economy, more money in their wallets, and bigger savings. Harris, meanwhile, struggled to distance herself from Biden, leading many voters to view the administration as responsible for their current economic troubles, further strengthening Trump's appeal. And despite having a larger campaign fund and a robust voter outreach program, Harris could not overcome Trump's movement-like campaign. While Harris's campaign raised over $1 billion, Trump's unconventional style and movement-based approach allowed him to bypass traditional campaigning hurdles. In fact, Trump did. He created a movement. You didn't just need Trump to go out there, and he was unconventional, but you had his people out there, and they were reaching out. If you look on TikTok, the diversity of those supporters of his on TikTok alone, the influencers, was really amazing and impressive. Trump has that aggressive demeanor. Harris was cautious and really had an issue with the fact that she couldn't claim who she was because she was denying who she was in 2019. And mind you, she also had overcome the fact that she didn't run a primary. That actually helped her. Harris benefited on the fact that she only had to run a 100-day campaign because she's not likable in the sense that she could not connect with the average voter. So here we are. We finally have culminated. And as Trump said, it took 4 years because, trust me, he has been campaigning for 4 years since his loss in 2020. But throughout it all, we now have a new elected or president-elect, and that is Donald Trump, 45, 47. So for me and those of us in our Purple Politics show, we want to congratulate President Trump on a well-run campaign and election. We're going to take a quick commercial break and look at why was Kamala Harris's campaign doomed?
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you. Call 800-749-7781. That's 800-749-7781. Call now.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Are you nearly maxed out on your credit cards? It doesn't matter if you're using your credit cards for fun or to survive. At the end of the month, your statements come in, and you can either pay them or you can't. If you can't, late fees and interest rates get tacked on. And now you're struggling just to make the minimum payment due. Do you feel trapped? Am I talking to you? Good, because I personally researched some companies that can help you. They may be able to reduce your credit card balances by 50% and stop the late fees. If you qualify, please call our special debt hotline number right now for a complimentary free 5-minute consultation. Deal with your credit card problem now before it gets much worse and put more money back in your pocket. Trust me, I've been there too. Call right now.
Call 855-993-2096 right now. That's 855-993-2096.
How did Kamala Harris lose this election? What were the fatal flaws that doomed this campaign and her election bid? Because despite all the pollsters, and we will get into that, saying it was a tight race, the end result showed a completely different picture. Kamala Harris's bid for the presidency was hindered by her inability to separate herself from the unpopular Biden administration, a critical flaw that became evident during her appearance on The View. When asked what she would do differently from President Biden, Harris responded that she wouldn't change a thing. This statement highlighted her close association with Biden, whose approval ratings remained around 40% throughout his term. And in fact, her approval ratings as VP were even lower in the 30s. And this allowed Trump to capitalize on their perceived shared weaknesses, ultimately leading to his decisive victory over Harris. As a candidate, Harris aimed to present herself as a fresh leader, ready to tackle economic issues and work across political divides. However, she never gave any specifics other than people have aspirations, goals, and dreams. And her role as a sitting vice president made it challenging for her to embody the change candidate that voters were seeking. Her campaign rhetoric was often overshadowed by her association with Biden's policies on inflation and immigration, which many Americans disapproved of. This connection left her vulnerable to criticism and limited her appeal to voters yearning for a new direction. Trump's victory was solidified by winning Pennsylvania, a key battleground state, and outperforming expectations in the Sun Belt and traditional Democratic blue wall states. Despite significant investment in states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, Harris failed to make inroads, and Trump expanded his margins in many counties across the nation. This outcome underscored Trump's increasing support among working class and minority voters and highlighted Harris's struggle to unite the Democratic base and appeal to independents and moderates. Harris's performance among Black and Latino voters was notably weaker than Biden's in 2020, particularly among Latino men and Black voters in key urban centers. Her support among these Democrats fell short of Biden's numbers, with Latino and Black voters splitting their support more evenly than in previous elections. Trump's growing appeal among non-college educated and working-class Latino men reflected a shift in traditional identity-based voting patterns, indicating a potential reconfiguration of party strategies for engaging with these groups in future elections. Hallelujah. You know, Republican Party is no longer just the white elite party. And in fact, and some of the pundits and other mainstream media channels have even recognized that maybe their tone, the way that they describe groups, needs to be reflected on and changed. Because let's face it, when you have people of the likes like Sunny on The View calling women who voted for Trump must be uneducated white women, vilifying white women, or that when sharing that a county in Texas, which is 90% Latino and 75% of that vote went to Trump. And when asked, why do you think this is? Her immediate reaction, and others probably are the same. Oh, it's misogyny. It has to be, it's sexism and misogyny, rather than go, or it's because this town is right on the border and they're seeing and feeling the pain of this mass overflow because of unsecured borders. See, that's really where the disconnect is. We can go on and on about how, oh, people think it's sexist, or is it because she was a Black female? No, because truly, I believe that if Nikki Haley were the candidate for the Republican Party, she would have won resoundingly. And two, there was a huge disconnect. I mean, Kamala Harris put all of her eggs in two baskets. Hate Trump. I'm not Trump. Trump is horrible. Trump is this. And oh, abortion rights, abortion rights, abortion rights. We're here to protect women's rights. But the polls showed for 2 years, the polls have been showing accurately the biggest issues facing American families today are the economy, the border, and crime. That's it. Abortion was down here. And again, abortion is a red herring type of argument to say, oh, women's autonomy. I'm like, you now have these young girls shaving their heads, claiming they're going to get hysterectomies. I mean, why? When abortion is been dealt back to the states, and yes, Florida did not get constitutional amendment through because they did get the 60% votes. But the bottom line is there was a there was a flaw in that constitutional amendment because they failed to disclose what was the time period, and they did not define viability. So yes, Harris tying herself and not being able to differentiate herself from Biden and saying that she wouldn't change anything hurt her. Her earlier statements in 2019 as being extreme progressive hurt her. The fact that while she was Attorney General and bragging about how she changed the law to allow sex change operations for prisoners on the pole hurt her. The political progressive movement forcing down the throats of the American people, their woke ideology and this cultural thing, when people are saying, stop, enough, hurt her. Because the bottom line is that Harris ran on, fortunately she didn't run on the woman thing, and she didn't run on Black thing, which she didn't have to because her supporters were shoving that down. I don't know how many people basically looked at me saying, you're a woman, you have to vote for Harris. No, I will vote for the candidate and the platform that most benefits my family, my constituents, my people in this government. And there's another reason too, is though Kamala Harris is an extreme progressive, she is not a moderate. She is extremely progressive. And I disagree wholeheartedly that now the progressives are saying we haven't gone far enough to the left. No, You shoving the culture world down at the average American's throat does not help you. The fact that you even have Democratic elected officials saying, I don't want men playing in my daughter's sports, that is something else. The fact that they were trying to tear apart Title IX when in fact we just celebrated the 50th anniversary not too long ago, that hurts her. And ultimately, what really hurts is, yes, she had a truncated campaign cycle. That actually was to her benefit. But her ground game, the point of contention, the coordination, the outreach, getting out to those people like in key states like Pennsylvania, is going to the communities that you are saying that you want to represent, but then had the mass media and other Democrats vilify groups of people, demean groups of people, be condescending to large groups of people, does not help you. Also, another question as to why this was flawed, picking Walz as her VP running mate. Ben Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, hugely, he is impressive. He is beyond impressive. When he gets on the stage, he speaks very eloquently. He is seen as more of a true Democrat, which would now be seen as moderate Democrat. But maybe his appeal would have been, she would have probably taken Pennsylvania. That, really her picking Walz was handing a gift to Trump in his campaign. When you have Black and Latino Democrats voicing frustrations over the effective outreach, the blindness to them, and then vilifying groups of people, this is where you're going to fail. And this is not a Biden's fault, even though some people want to lay this at Biden's feet, because yes, when he ran in 2020, he said he was only going to run for one term to be the transition, and they should have. But the bottom line is the Democrats, they shot themselves in the foot on this. Always have a primary. They shut down any potential primary. That's why you have RFK Jr. going independent. That's why you had Tulsi Gabbard leaving the Democratic Party, because if you don't follow the leadership, you're out. And this was well funded. Oh, and by the way, touting off Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Oprah, and all of these stars and big stars coming out. Oh, and on these big rallies, their influence doesn't mean squat to the average American. Talk to the average American. You want to say that you are for we the people, it is time to talk. So it is time for the Democratic Party really to do some reflection. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to go further into deep diving as to what occurred in this historic election cycle.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you. Call 800-749-7781. That's 800-749-7781. Call now.
Are you on Medicaid and in need of bladder control and incontinence products? Then stay tuned for a free offer from Active Style. At Active Style, we understand your needs and offer convenient home delivery of incontinence products for children and adults. And they may be available at no cost to you if you're Medicaid eligible. Our products have a super absorbent core that locks away wetness to keep you dry.
If you're on Medicaid, call now for your free sample.
How would you like to go on a 5-star vacation for just $99? We're talking about the quality of a Westgate resort for $99. Not for one night, but for 3 fantastic nights at one of their luxurious destinations across the United States. And you'll even get a free $100 Visa gift card just for making a reservation. We've got some of the choicest destinations that you'll love in the United States that you can choose from for just $99 for a 3-night stay. Take your family, take a special loved one, but get away. Go on vacation with Westgate Resorts. Call now to make a reservation for just $99, and you get a free $100 Visa gift card. Call Westgate right now and book your vacation. Here's the number.
Call 877-930-3491. That's 877-930-3491. Again, 877-930-3491.
Oh, and the Democrats and mainstream media are playing the blame game. Kamala Harris's campaign team went into Election Day with optimism fueled by Donald Trump's controversial remarks, which they believed would sway voters against him. Her final rally in Philadelphia, set against the iconic Rocky steps, symbolized what they hoped would be her rise as an underdog. However, this confidence proved misplaced, as voters were more concerned with the issues like inflation and immigration than with Trump's character. And we already seen and heard, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's Trump. As much as you want to scream about it, that's Trump. Trump's win reveals Harris's failure to connect with an electorate increasingly dissatisfied with the Democrats and the President Biden's administration, because this is also on the Democrats, because there was a sweep. This was the red wave. Everybody was saying it was going to happen in 2022. It happened in 2024. A key miscalculation was Harris's reluctance, again, to distance herself from Biden. But also her unpopularity weighed heavily on her campaign, because remember, just 6 months prior to them doing the bait and switch, the plug and play, she was not popular. People did not want her. She didn't even get over 2% when she ran in 2019. And though she took over the ticket mid-year, Harris was unable to craft an independent message that resonated with the voters. Her focus was attacking Trump's character, which missed the mark completely. The failure to establish a distinct platform left her vulnerable, and also her inability to answer a question. Additional challenges facing the Harris's campaign was voter outreach, particularly with Blacks, Latinos, and the working class voters. Now, remember, Democrats used to be, and I say used to, past tense, be the party of the working class. No, they vilified the uneducated voter, the uneducated working class. I mean, how they became the elites, an elitist. I mean, to shame Black men for not voting for a Black woman because the Black man is going, I have to feed my family. I have a business. I want to be able to prosper. Same with Latinos, going, Latinos, when they were asked and polled what they think about the border and stuff, they were resoundingly saying we need to close the border. And the efforts to connect with these groups came way too late and lacked clarity, leading to lackluster engagement. Internal disagreements on messaging and the effectiveness of Harris's ground game further hindered her ability to mobilize support. Also, expecting, not wishing, not hoping, but a full-on expectation that all female voters, registered voters, were going to vote for Kamala because she's a woman and we must elect her. No, get away from the identity politics. Representative Adam Smith voiced concerns about Harris's appearing too aligned with the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, which he believed alienated moderate voters. Democratic support weakened across multiple demographics, with women, men, and working class voters shifting toward the Republican Party. Harris lost ground with college-educated voters and saw notable declines among Black and Latino voters compared to previous Democratic candidates. This shift signaled a broader realignment as traditional Democratic constituency leaned toward Trump's economic and social messaging, widening the gap in voter support. The Democratic establishment also struggled to transition from Biden's presidency to a new generation of leaders, creating internal conflict and doubt about Biden's decisions to seek re-election. Many within the party questioned Biden's viability as a candidate, feeling his age and perceived detachment from pressing national issues hampered the Democrats. Harris inherited this frustration, with some Democrats suggesting that her campaign faced insurmountable obstacles due to Biden's lingering influence, despite the fact that she did have that strong surge leading into the immediately after the Democratic National Convention. Harris's campaign was further complicated by internal friction, as her team included both her longtime aides and key figures from Biden's campaign. Differing opinions on how to position Trump as dangerous, risky, or power hungry. Oh, hell, they called him a Nazi, people. Don't call him a Nazi. Oh, and also, whoever is a supporter of Trump is racist. And then they go, well, no, not all people who are supporters of Trump are racist, but all the racists are Trump supporters. I mean, that was the other big downfall. Let's call a spade a spade. You guys vilified a group of people as half of the country and more. You called those who supported Trump as misogynist, racist, Nazis, white supremacists. You attacked white males. You attacked males. You attacked Republican women being uneducated, or, the commercial, and I was personally offended by this, the commercial that, psst, your husband doesn't need to know who you voted for. It's private. Like, we don't have minds of our own, that we are controlled. That's what they think of the Republican wife. Also, attacking and saying that Latinos is from misogynism and sexism, that Latina women can't vote their own conscience. That was a huge problem. I mean, 10 Democratic thinkers were giving their opinions as to why the Democrats failed so badly. They fell on their face. Andrew Yang, advocate for a democratization of the Democratic Party, suggesting open primaries and ranked choice voting to foster a broader, more inclusive candidate selection process. He also encourages the party to focus on improving American standard of living and avoid divisive cultural issues. Yang warns that without significant changes, many voters may seek alternative options like his Ford Party. Matthew Duss calls for a shift towards a populist, worker-centered vision that unites Americans across party lines. He criticizes the party's attempt to appeal to moderate Republicans, which he sees as a failed strategy that ignores the Democratic base. Duss believes that focusing on economic policies that resonate with working-class voters in both red and blue states is essential for winning back their trust. Sarada Perry argues that Democrats have been too reactive to Trump's agenda, failing to present their own clear vision. She believes the party needs a narrative that speaks to Americans' hopes and addresses their concerns, moving beyond Trump as a focal point. Perry says Democrats must answer questions about their values and what they aim to achieve for America. Faiz Shakir emphasizes rebuilding connections with working class voters, advocating for policies that address economic insecurity and corporate power. Recruiting candidates who understand the struggles of those living paycheck to paycheck. Ross Barkan recommends a generational shift in Democratic leadership, urging the party to move beyond the Obama and Biden eras. He highlights the need for strong communicators who can speak to working class pain and articulate a compelling vision. Chuck Rocha calls for a return to the core values, focusing on issues important to the working class, particularly Latino voters. He believes Democrats have become too reliant on polling and ad testing and urges the party to communicate more directly with voters. Will Stansel points to the fragmented media environment as a major barrier for Democrats, noting that many voters live in a right-wing media bubble. Actually, I disagree with this. The problem is that you have a shift away from mainstream media. That's why you have programs like myself appearing on Now Media or News Nation. You have more people depending on finding their news online through X, through TikTok, through YouTube, because the mainstream media has become so polarizing. Jeff Johnson calls for a political revolution to hold leaders accountable and prioritize the needs of ordinary Americans. The theme is central. Ordinary Americans are who the Democrats are supposed to be appealing to. And guess what? It's shifted because they are only doing this culture war, this woke ideology, and nobody can even really define what is woke. And you know what? Disparaging swaths of the population, half of the population, and calling them degenerates, deplorables, garbage. Having one of your main people, Mark Cuban, stating that that Trump surrounds himself by weak, unintelligent women. Seriously? Let's insult women because they support a candidate. And also, what about that coalition that Harris was always claiming she was going to build? But yet it was Donald Trump who built a collaboration and is going forward by funding his own transition team to prevent insiders from getting in. That's my cue. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to jump right in as to how this election affects Biden's legacy.
Investing in real estate doesn't have to be a pipe dream, but how do you find, analyze, renovate, finance investment properties without getting ripped off? My name's Andrew Glisson. In 4 short years, me and my team built a portfolio of 200 rental properties in multiple cities as a hobby while working full-time. We took all of that experience and built a mentorship program called the Victory Strategy to unlock every step of investing in real estate. If that sounds like the opportunity you've been waiting for, look us up at thevictorystrategy.com.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wright Hamilton, and welcome to Ignite. Are you ready to fuel the fire within you and ignite your passion for leadership and business growth? This show isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about transforming your ambition into unstoppable momentum. We're here to spark the strategies that set your soul on fire and help you blaze a trail of success. Whether you're building a startup or leading a team, Ignite will empower you to turn your vision into a powerful reality. Fuel your fire, ignite your passion, and watch your success take flight. Tune in to Ignite right here on Now Media TV.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Well, here's a great idea. Donate your car now to help local veterans in your area. Yes, just make one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program. Within a few days, we'll come and remove your car for free. You can donate any car in any condition. We'll use our vast network to sell it. The proceeds raised go to help local veterans and their families. And you get a tax deduction. And all you need to do is make this free call. Clean your yard up, get rid of an old car, and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now. Book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program now.
President Biden's term concluded with a significant blow to his legacy as voters returned Donald Trump to the White House, rejecting Biden's vision of unity and healing the soul of America, even though he really didn't help that message to go forward. Despite his efforts, and despite the efforts of Kamala's campaign team keeping him in the closet, Biden's agenda did not resonate with the electorate, resulting in a decisive loss for his successor, Kamala Harris. In a speech, Biden acknowledged the setback, but encouraged Americans to continue striving for the country's ideals. Biden's decision to seek re-election, despite promising to be a bridge to a new generation, is now under scrutiny. Critics argue that his decision, fueled by his inner circle, showed a disregard for the party's future and gave Trump another shot at power. Biden's single-term presidency now mirrors Jimmy Carter's, another Democratic president who left office with a damaged reputation. Biden's future endeavors, such as his presidential library, could also face financial challenges as donors reassess their support in light of the trouncing of Harris's campaign. Additionally, Biden's family may face renewed scrutiny as Republicans have long claimed that Biden's profited from public service. With Hunter Biden's upcoming sentencing on federal charges, the possibility of a pardon may further complicate Biden's personal and political legacy. This legal drama adds another layer of difficulty for Biden as he navigates his post-presidential years amid potential Republican-led investigations. Biden's presidency faced numerous challenges. He won during the COVID pandemic. There was economic turbulence due to the shutdowns of the COVID pandemic, inflation, record immigration through his fault, because the open border, within the first few days of becoming president, he reversed everything that Trump had put into place to keep our border secure, and forcing the clean energy initiatives like by 2030, there would only be EV cars. His administration saw some successes like the infrastructure investment, which actually added to inflation, but also his clean energy initiatives. But these will be overshadowed by crises like the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal, which hurt his approval ratings and cast doubt on his leadership abilities, and cast a shadow on America's might in the world. While Biden celebrated his legislative achievements, his struggle to effectively communicate these successes to the public was evident, especially as his age increasingly impacted his public appearances. Despite passing significant bills, Trump has vowed to reverse much of Biden's progress, a task complicated by the fact that some of Biden's initiatives now have bipartisan support in Congress. Biden's decision to seek a second term despite widespread public opposition also reflects a miscalculation and some say selfishness on his part. When he announced his candidacy in April 2023, most Americans, including a large portion of Democrats, preferred he step aside, citing his age as a primary concern. Since then, Biden has admitted that there was minimal internal debate over his decision to run again, raising questions about the decision-making processes within his administration. Biden's primary process has also come under fire for limiting competition and moving up South Carolina's primary date to benefit his campaign. Critics argued that the lack of a competitive primary with Representative Dean Phillips as the only challenger remaining, because there were others, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., remember, prevented voters from seeing how Biden handled rigorous public scrutiny. Biden's early nomination sidelined other potential candidates and left Democrats feeling their options were constrained. It was not a nomination. It was basically an edict by the DNC saying that this is our candidate, that's who you're going with, and nobody is running against him. Hence, Bobby Kennedy becoming an independent and running as a third-party candidate or non-third-party candidate. Throughout his term, Biden's aides denied concerns about his cognitive decline, even as private encounters raised alarms. His June debate performance against Trump, where he struggled to articulate his message, underscored these issues. And it was that debate that forced him out of the election. Now, here's another thing, too, and we need to look at this, is the reality is that this is an opportunity for the Democratic Party, because I'm not going to go back into the blame game, because it's done. There are a lot of issues here. And this is a great opportunity for the Democrats to really rethink and recalibrate their party, because they have gone so far left to the progressive. I mean, look, nobody's talking about transgendering kids and stuff like that. Why? Oh my God, because it was an epic fail. People don't want that forced down their throats. Figure out who you are and what you are. And it's not the progressives. The American people do not want this woke, progressive, ultimately socialist party. And this also could be, look, thrusting Kamala onto this, and based on her performance, in my opinion, I would say that it now allows the Democratic Party to move away from Kamala Harris and in 2028 focus on candidates that really can inure to not only their Democratic Party and their registered voters, but to the country. I mean, you have the likes of Gretchen Whitmer, whose name is being thrust around. Governor Shapiro is another one. I mean, so this is an opportunity. So realistically, it did have a dual effect in that it now sets the stage for Kamala Harris will not be a factor in 2028. And another thing that is evident is this was not just an election of Trump and putting him back to the White House and the MAGA regaining, basically getting their vindication. It was also a mandate by the voters, because we are seeing a red wave. The Republicans regain control of the Senate. Republicans have control. They flipping seats in Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia, achieving broad support across cities, suburbs, and rural areas. They recaptured counties previously held by Democrats in the 2018 Senate election, solidifying a strong base that included retaking urban and rural regions. Each flip seat had unique factors contributing to its outcome, reflecting Republican gains nationwide. In Montana, Republican Tim Sheehy unseated incumbent Democrat John Tester, who had previously held the state by winning crucial counties like Cascades, home to Great Falls. In 2024, he flipped Cascade County and expanded Republican margins across other parts of the state. Tester's loss marked a significant shift in Montana's political landscape, with the state's overall margin swinging 12 percentage points toward Republicans since 2018. Ohio Senate race saw Republican Bernie Moreno, a wealthy former car dealership owner, leverage significant self-funding and a Trump endorsement to defeat three-term Democratic incumbent Sherrod Brown. Moreno's campaign was particularly successful in rural areas and small towns, flipping 8 counties from blue to red, including Mahoning County, a historically Democratic area. The state's margin shifted 11 points in favor of Republicans compared to the previous Senate election. That's huge. Texas saw incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz expand his lead by 6 percentage points over his 2018 performance, defeating Democratic challenger Representative Colin Allred in one of the most expensive Senate races this cycle. Cruz successfully flipped 13 counties, including Nuances County on the U.S.-Mexico border, which highlighted shifting allegiances along border areas traditionally more competitive for Democrats. In Nebraska, incumbent Republican Senator Deb Fischer faced an unexpectedly competitive race due to independent candidate Dan Osborne, who cut her winning margin by 11 percentage points compared to 2018. Although she retained her seat, Osborne's influence demonstrated a notable shift in the state's political dynamics, underscoring growing voter discontent with the traditional party lines. West Virginia also contributed to the Republican gains, with Republican Governor Jim Justice securing an easy victory after Democrat-turned-independent Senator Joe Manchin opted not to run. Justice won every county in the state, securing 69% of the vote. His sweeping victory reflected the state's deepening Republican alignment, reinforcing the GOP's dominance in the Senate. We're still awaiting to see if the House is retained by the Republicans, but it's looking like that. And here's another thing to look at. Trump did exceptionally well, and so did the Republicans in New Jersey. They cut the points into the Democrat win by so much that it shows a shifting to the right as well. And for those of us, for the lay people out there looking at the map after that election night, they didn't see a little flip here of one county. Oh, there was a few percentage points here, because the average American is not looking at the percentage points. The average American is looking at that electoral map and seeing that red had swept the nation. I am Alina Gonzalez-Dockery. Celebrate that we have survived the election process. There are no fights over it. We had a concession. We had a new president-elect, and it was a decisive election. It was clear as day. I want to wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I shall see you next week on Purple Politics.
Investing in real estate doesn't have to be a pipe dream. But how do you find, analyze, renovate, finance investment properties without getting ripped off? My name's Andrew Glisson. In 4 short years, me and my team built a portfolio of 200 rental properties in multiple cities as a hobby while working full-time. We took all of that experience and built a mentorship program called the Victory Strategy to unlock every step of investing in real estate. If that sounds like the opportunity you've been waiting for, look us up at thevictorystrategy.com.
If you're on supplemental oxygen, heavy and awkward tanks can be a burden. Now you can leave home and leave the tanks behind with Inogen, portable oxygen therapy that moves with you.
With my Inogen, now I'm able to do the things that I've always loved. I just press the button here, and there's my oxygen.
Inogen systems are so small and light, you're free to leave the house without the hassles of an oxygen tank.
I could play golf again. I could go grocery shopping. I'm free again.
With the Inogen, I can handle my own oxygen. I can carry my own oxygen. I go anywhere with this. Look how small it is.
And right now, you can try an Inogen portable oxygen system for 30 days risk-free. Call us right now. If you qualify, we'll send you an Inogen system to use for 30 days risk-free. Your insurance may even cover your new Inogen system.
If you're on oxygen, you need to be using an Inogen.
Call 800-367-1753. That's 800-367-1753.
Hi, I'm Vicki Wright Hamilton, and welcome to Ignite. Are you ready to fuel the fire within you and ignite your passion for leadership and business growth? This show isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about transforming your ambition into unstoppable momentum. We're here to spark the strategies that set your soul on fire and help you blaze a trail of success. Whether you're building a startup or leading a team, Ignite will empower you to turn your vision into a powerful reality. Fuel your fire, ignite your passion, and watch your success take flight. Tune in to Ignite right here on Now Media TV